So this morning I get up and I'm like playing with my dog for a little bit, and then I do what we usually do, right? Which is we go to Bird Site and look and see if there's like any kind of news going on there, and what kind of cringy nonsense is going on in the world. And today I was met with cringy stuff, as I usually am. And one of them today, this one was that debate. It's like the 1 versus 20 debates, which to me that is such a bizarre format to do something like that, because nobody really. I understand the purpose of debate, right? That's actually the purpose of debate is actually to be able to try and get people to understand how to ask questions and know the subject matter. I mean, like, that's sort of the purpose behind it. But nobody's really benefited by just a bunch of people arguing back and forth. And personally, me, when it comes to the actual subject or the idea of debate, I actually think debate is really kind of a waste of time, because unless you're trying to really learn something, from the person that you're talking to, right, which is way more fruitful. You understand? I mean, like, if you're trying to learn something from somebody and they're trying to learn something from you, then everybody's benefited in that transaction. Nobody's really particularly benefited if it's just two people arguing, And so, this one was the communism versus capitalism one. It was with this businessman in Florida versus like 20 college kids. And all I could think of, my knee-jerk reaction is with the college kids was like, kids, you really should understand money better, and you should understand capitalism better than even he understands it before you even climb into the ring with something like that. That's ridiculous. So for guys like me, good analogy would be like a martial arts analogy, right? Is like guys who have been like professional street fighters, right? Who do it all the time, watching a bunch of so-called brown belts in a ring that have never been in street fights all, slapping each other. Right. I mean, that's how it comes across as. So like when I'm watching this kind of stuff, I'm like, wow, your Tiger Crane style is no match for the, for the Eagle Claw and stuff. Well, like, yeah, I know. And I'm sitting here thinking like, man, you guys are no match for, the Raven Claw. Seriously, that's kind of how it comes across. At least to me anyway. As someone who has been on both sides of a lot of this on many occasions. And I notice this is another thing too, why are you adults, guys in your 50s, why are you debating college kids on this? Why aren't you having this discussion with people that are your own age that have just as much, if not more, experience than you do, and that already know the answer to the questions before they even ask them? Right? Go find any top-notch $500 plus per hour lawyer. Go ask them, and every one of them will tell you, you never cross-examine someone on a stand and ask a question that you don't already know what they're going to say. You never do that, because if you ask them a question and you have no clue what they're going to say, that could blow your entire case. That could throw your whole flow off and mess everything up. No, dude, you never do that. You always have to know the subject material better than the guy that you're having a debate with, right? Okay, so these young kids, let me give the criticism to the young kids first. The young kids, like, dude, you guys really should know capitalism way better, like by a sight better than any of these guys. And the thing is that most of you, all you know is theoretical capital, just like most of these other guys, all they know is theory. If you really wanted to start, if you want to go right for the throat, which is, of course, that's how I do it. If you're in a street fight, dude, you go for the throat. You don't be punching people's noses, dude. No, it's soft tissue targets, man. And you go right for the throat. And one of the things that you learn is like, okay, well, let's first of all have this discussion. If we're going to discuss the idea of capitalism, why does it have a central bank? That will shut most people down right there. That shuts almost every capitalist I've ever spoken with, shuts them right down. Because so does every communist country, every socialist country, every national socialist country, every fascist country, you name it, pick a country. They all have one thing in common, and that's central banking. And if they can't answer that question, you basically just shut down the entire program. It's sort of like asking, what's a gang? My wife was on a jury one time, and she'd been around me for too long. And they kept throwing the word gang activity, gang this and gang that. My wife actually on the jury asked a question of the defense attorney, or no, this is prosecution. Prosecution said, you keep throwing the word gang around. What exactly do you mean? What precisely is the definition of a gang? It shut everything down. Like, that shut the entire like everything got shut down because nobody wanted to answer that question. See, when you know this stuff really well, when you know it from balls to bones, dude, yeah, that all that theoretical kata shit goes out the window. You know, all that form and kata crap, you know, at the martial arts school, that goes out the window in a street fight, dude. So, yeah. So, no, I mean, like, if you want to go right for the throat, you would just ask, like, okay, then explain to me why it is that capitalism that we have, modern capitalism, has a central bank. And I already know, of course, I mean, me being who I am, I already know what the answer is I'm going to hear from them, which is, well, it doesn't need a central bank. Yet here we are. Doesn't it? Because if it doesn't need a central bank, why is it that if that were the case, then why is it that every billionaire, every multimillionaire, every so-called titan of industry, a captain of industry, every one of the Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 CEOs, all these people who espouse the ideals of capitalism, they should be screaming for the end of the Federal Reserve today. Yet they don't. So why is that? See, they don't have an answer for that. Not a good one, and you'll just get a bunch of mumbling and fumbling because, again, it's like, I already know, because it's going to be like, well, no, you don't understand. No, I do understand. I do understand it. This is why you people never actually invite me on these shows. You invite college kids who aren't going to ask these questions. You don't put people like me up there and say, like, well, yeah, walk me through the process. Walk me through the process of why the United States needs to have a supposedly capitalist country needs a central bank. Because it doesn't. It doesn't. Yet you keep it around. I said yesterday, and I meant what I said. When your money becomes worthless, there's really nothing else to talk about. That's the truth. I'll do another video on that. I mean, like, dude, but yeah, when your money becomes worthless, there really isn't any, like, why talk about anything else? What else is there to discuss? The weather? Who cares about that? Rain or shine, who cares about that? Like, do you understand? When your money becomes worthless, in other words, your energy, that's why you have a bunch of people who are just tuned out. That's why you've got a bunch of people that are like, man, I don't want to do anything. It isn't that they don't want to do anything. It's that they don't like seeing all of their energy go into something and they get nothing out of it. It's okay to have a bit of a diminishing return. That's part of thermodynamics. That's part of entropy, okay? But not at what we're seeing right now, where something like, imagine you pour in 100% of your energy into something and you get a 2% return back on your energy. So not even your principal. You don't even get your principal back. You just get 2% of your 100% back. Not 2% on your 100, 2% of your 100. That gets really annoying after a while. People eventually just say, dude, they throw up their hands. They do the John Galt thing and say, dude, fuck it. I've had enough. I've had enough. Why would I keep doing this? When you have enough, when you actually have experience, right? When you actually have real world experience, that's what you sound like. And when you sound like that, it shuts down both sides very quickly. Left and right. Commie and capitalist, like all you fucking idiots, it shuts all of you down very quickly. Because now you're talking to somebody who's actually doing the fucking work. Sooner or later, sooner or later, both sides has to call somebody to clean out a toilet that they fucked up. And the guy who shows up is the guy who actually knows what the hell he's doing. All that theory goes out the fucking window. So, there's no point to this. I'm just telling you. Just at the end of this video, there was no point to this video.